Meet your brain. You only get one of this lump of neurons, lobes and cortices, so looking after it is pretty important. We all want to take good care of our brains, but first we have to find out what we can do. Sure, there's a bunch of things that can affect your brain that you can't change, your genetics and simply getting older. But there's also a bunch of things you can change, lifestyle choices like exercise and diet. Consider how much sugar you eat. Just like your body, your brain needs glucose for energy. Glucose is pretty much the only source of energy for your brain, and it can be greedy. It takes over half the amount of glucose your body uses every day, an average of 420 calories. But we can have too much of a good thing. Chronically high blood glucose is pretty bad for your health in general. And by high blood glucose, I don't mean the kind of levels you'd expect in type 2 diabetes. I mean high even in the normal range. Chronically high blood glucose is also pretty bad for your brain. Since 1999, the Personality Total Health Through Life project has been collecting a lot of information from thousands of Australians. I'm interested in a sub-study that involves about 600 middle-aged and elderly people. My research starts with a blood test and a brain scan. The blood test tells us how much glucose there is in the participant's system. We use magnetic resonance imaging, which you'll probably know as MRI, to take brain scans, and then a mixture of software and people power to work out which bit of the brain is which. The brain scan tells us how big different parts of the brain are. Size is a good way to find out what's going on in the brain. If something is shrinking, it usually means that it'll have a tougher time doing its job. The idea is to work out what changes happen in the brain with age, and whether blood glucose is accelerating those changes or causing other problems. So, what have we found? Meet your hippocampus. It looks a bit like a seahorse. The hippocampus is important for turning short-term memory into long-term memory. We know that the hippocampus slowly shrinks with age, and this can cause forgetfulness. Starting at the age of 60 to 64, our lab followed 266 people over 4 years and found that people with high blood glucose also had greater hippocampal shrinkage. This explains why high blood glucose can be associated with memory problems. What next? Right now, I'm working on finding out if something similar happens with other parts of the brain, or even the whole brain. Thanks to the beautiful Personality and Total Health Through Life data, we can learn a lot about how blood glucose can affect the brain. And the more we know, the more we can raise public awareness and inform policy to help protect people's brains' health as they get older.